macOS 26.5 is officially available with a couple of new features and changes, and in this video I'm simply going to be telling you everything that you need to know. When you open up the Apple Maps application for the first time, you'll see that it now has support for ads and suggested places. There's a section that talks about Siri suggestion, and in this case you can see this place that's being suggested to me. At the same time, when you go to the map search section, you can see how this has been updated. Depending on what you search in this section, you'll be recommended different businesses, whether it's restaurants or shops, according to your search. I searched Apple, for example, and you can see if there's a guide, it will show it to you right here, and you can click here and then begin the guides. There's also a bug in this section that seems to fade the top search query, so you can see how this option is sort of faded, and then below that the other options are clear. Since no one likes ads, I looked into the map settings, and unfortunately there isn't an option that allows users to be able to opt out of this new ads feature. So what this change allows businesses in North America, that is US and Canada for now, is that it allows them to be able to serve you ads according to your search. I'm pretty sure depending on its success, Apple will eventually allow more businesses in more countries to be able to put their ads in maps as well. If you have new Apple Magic accessories like this keyboard here, what the latest updates that Apple released alongside macOS 26.5 like iOS 26.5 is USB Bluetooth pairing. I can take an Apple Magic accessory like this keyboard, plug one end of the cable into my keyboard, and then the other end can be plugged into the iPhone. You can see the connection has been established right here. Now if I'm typing on a note or on the keyboard, you can see how this is typing, and then if I go ahead and unplug my iPhone, the connection is still continuous since it's been established using the USB-C cable. And then if you go into your notification section, it will actually give you a notification that your Apple Magic keyboard is connected. So if I go to the same note, you can see it's continuous, and then also you'll be able to get a notification that, hey, your Magic accessory has been connected as well. This change isn't necessarily making it easier for you to connect your existing Mac Apple Magic accessories to your other Apple devices like your iPad or iPhone, but it just gives users a new option to be able to pair their accessories with their other devices. Another great change that has been introduced has to do with messages. So if you are accessing messages using iPhone mirroring, that mirrors your iPhone to your Mac, you can see that now messages support RCS, and now these RCS messages are actually encrypted. So you can see here on the iPhone that's mirrored, it will say text message RCS, and then also when you go to the messages app on macOS, you can see it also tell you text messages RCS. This is actually a good change because what it means is that now Apple or other third-party service providers won't be able to decrypt or intercept your messages that you might text from your iPhone or your Mac to other Android users. Another minor change that seems to have improved with this update has to do with memory usage. So you can see my physical memory. I'm still using the M1 Pro MacBook Pro, and it's the one that has 16 gigs of memory. And right here, memory used while I'm recording and doing all this, because it's the same device that I test the betas on and I record and edit these videos on. You can see, you know, my memory usage is averaging about 11 to 11.5 gigs. I've been monitoring it for some time. Before this, it was actually averaging 13. So it seems to be utilizing the memory better, or the unified memory, which is Apple's term for RAM. So this seems to be not just for me only, but in different forums that I've been able to find, different users have mentioned that yes, the memory management for users that had been testing this update in beta before it came out officially, it seems to have improved a little bit on the memory management. This should be good for users that have very limited memory. I think maybe this was improved since Apple released the MacBook Neo, and that device just has 8 gigs of unified memory or RAM. Another minor change that has been introduced by this update is now Apple has removed the non-creator studio versions of Pages, Numbers, and Keynote for macOS. So you can see Keynote is right there, Numbers and Pages. If we open Numbers, for example, this is what we come up to. So new versions of Numbers is available, and this version will no longer be updated. To get the latest features, download Numbers 15 or later from the App Store. When we open up Pages, you can see also the same. New versions of Pages is now available, and it pretty much tells you the same message. If we open up Keynote, for example, it tells you what's new in Keynote and gives you a new version of Keynote that's available and steps on how you can acquire that as well. When you open up the App Store for the first time, you'll be welcomed by a new pop-up screen that's going to be welcoming you to the App Store. I'll click continue quickly, and now for developers, when it comes to this, they now have the ability to specify the billing plan type to use for subscription that have 12-month period commitments, billing period using a new billing plan type purchase options. So if you are subscribing or signing up for a service or an app service that costs, for example, $10 per month, you'll be able to see that it's $10 per month, but the commitment is a 12-month period. So even though it's being a monthly charge, it will also be able to give you the commitment period as well. There's a bug that's been resolved whereby for different users that were creating different projects where they wanted to export or save those projects and they would put a period followed by a spacebar, what would happen was that it would completely erase the whole name that you would have typed. So now you can use a period followed by spacebar, and in doing that, it won't erase what you have written, which was a bug before that's now been resolved. I don't use GarageBand on my Mac, but recently Apple updated GarageBand with a new version that improved accessibility features and also sharing option. But that version unfortunately raised the minimum OS that you need to be on to be able to use it. So before it was macOS 14.4. Now you need a minimum OS version of macOS 15.6 to use that new version of GarageBand. Also with this update, Apple seems to be reminding users again, like they did with macOS 26.4, that Rosetta support is pretty much coming to an end soon. I believe that's with macOS 27. So you have a limited time to get those apps that rely on Rosetta to be able to start running natively on macOS. So once you update and you open an app that relies on Rosetta, you'll see a notification pop up reminding you that, hey, the Rosetta support is coming to an end. Also, keep an eye on the Apple security releases, since with most updates like macOS 26.4 and most likely 26.5 as well, you'll be able to see the common vulnerabilities and the security contents of the macOS update. So for example, you can see with the previous update, there were lots of CVE entries or exposures that have been resolved. So keep an eye out on this page. It's one of the main reasons why you update your device. It's for stability and security contents. And other than that, that seems to be it for me when it comes to macOS 26.5. Let me know what you think about this video. If you liked it, leave a like and a hype, and I'll see you in the next video.